And we're back for Game 5 of the day. A big one, EG versus Dignitas. Playoff picture update, though, as it is very important, in particular with the result of the last game. 100 Thieves picking up yet another win to move themselves up. 9 wins right now is kind of the benchmark. And Mark, I will come to you when we talk about, therefore, the way that EG, sitting in 4th at 8-7, will approach their game against Dignitas today.
Yeah, I think the playoff picture is super close. The people who can grab wins, like what 100 Thieves just did there, is so big coming towards the end of the split. And EG, the one that they got yesterday, and if they can win again today, basically lock themselves. There are some scenarios where you can still not make it, but those are all most through tiebreakers, right, as I understand it. If you get 9 wins now, you will be at least in tiebreakers to get a playoff spot. So that puts EG in an incredible spot today compared to where we saw them even just a couple weeks ago when all those kind of interviews were coming out where all the players were kind of talking about how they were feeling. So this is such a good turnaround for this team.
Add that fact that with a victory today they moved to 9 next to the idea that they'd be handing Dignitas a loss and therefore removing their option of getting to 9 wins means they're already eliminating one of their competition then in terms of the race for the playoff picture. But as was mentioned, both of these teams are coming off of wins. So probably I want to come to you next and kind of talk about for Dignitas do or die time. If they want to hit the 9 win barrier at the moment, they'd have to go 3-0 in their last 3. What's the answer for this team, because they started so hot and they've been on just a massive slide?
Yeah, I think part of it is figuring out like drafts that work for them. I think yesterday they were kind of handed a pretty easy draft where they actually got to see both solo lanes, and then Huni actually had the Rumble flex and was able to pick Fiora later in the draft. So I think positions where they can actually pick up kind of a stronger draft than the opponent is really important, and particularly giving Huni a pick that he has a lot of agency on. I think this split he's spent a lot of time on like Gangplank and kind of farmers top that you're not really going to gank for and aren't going to really solo carry the game. And transitioning him back into kind of like, get him the Rumble when it's open, because drafts are a bit more open nowadays, or get him some kind of counter pick where he can take over the game, I think is what Dig needs to start moving back into.
And Azael, I'm going to hop over to you for the flip side of the matchup. EG, Jiizuke has been a top performer for the squad, in particular on that LeBlanc pick, really opening up some options for the team strategically alongside Bang as more of a steady carry. But for this EG squad, what would be the attack plan against a struggling Dignitas?
I think you play jungle mid. I think just play to your own strengths. I don't think you need to craft some specific plan to play against Dignitas. I think EG should look to what they are good at. Almost every one of their wins feels like it's coming through these incredible performances by Jiizuke. So draft strong mid jungle 2v2. It's not just the LeBlanc. He's had great Zoe games as well. So I think prioritize that, look to fight, look to get him ahead, and put him in a position where he can make things happen for the team.
So if we're looking for Svenskeren and Jiizuke to link up in the early game, we're going to want some priority picks for them, most likely in the jungle. Mark, what then for Dignitas would you expect Froggen to kind of jump back to? Because it doesn't feel as though Dignitas has been primarily mid lane focused. They've actually done some work to get Froggen out of his lane, like Jiizuke, prefers to do himself.
Yeah, and I think he had a better game than we've seen recently. He had a really strong performance in their previous game. I think what probably was hinting at with like the counter picks and being able to see, I think the draft really set them up well. And I hope that they continue to go for that more proactive counter picky style. I know it's a little bit more volatile and you're playing these tougher matchups, but I think that's preferred for me than when we've seen them not pick enough engage and they pick, Ori GP and they just try and let the game come to them. So especially with EG, they're going to be scrappy in the early game. We know Jiizuke is going to want to fight. And while I think Froggen is mechanically good enough to go up against Jiizuke, he needs to pick something that can also match Jiizuke's map play, because he's really good about going out and influencing other things.
Now, what about the bot side of the map? We've kind of ignored that up to this point, but I'll remind everyone that week 1, week 2, we were popping off about Johnson, this young gun, NA 80 carry, front runner rookie of the split. This guy's going to smash his way through alongside Aphromoo. And again, sort of fallen off the map up to, or at least in more recent weeks. You contrast that to to Bang, who again has kind of been the picture of steadiness, consistency throughout his career. How do we expect that matchup to go today? That's to anyone. I'm not going to direct it.
I think it's sadly going to be a bit of a non-factor unless it reaches the late game. It's just sad to say because Johnson just had such a great Kai'Sa performance, but that is a champ that is good about calling its own number, much more so than a lot of other marksmen ever are. And so it was good to get reminded of what we saw in the first couple games of the split for Johnson. But if they don't pick something that can call, like I said, be able to make their own plays happen, I think it's more likely to see junglers in draft attention on the top half of the map.
Oh, well, there the music has just kicked on in my headphones and the Champ Select screen is up onto our screens. I'll remind everyone at home that after this game, be sure to join us back here for the Bud Light Breakdown, where we'll recap all the games that took place this week, as well as award MasterCard Player of the Week to the tip-top player who played across our 10 games in this at-home LCS edition. With that, though, back over to Captain Flowers and Jad for the final game of the day.
Thank you, boys. Here we go. The last one of the day, the last one of the week. And Jat, I'm going to start this one off with a fun fact for you because I know you like stats. So
I love them.
Here's a stat. The last time that EG went 2-0, well, actually, I'm going to say undefeated weekend because it's not technically just a 2-0, was their last weekend in LCS in 2014, over 5 years ago. They went 4-0 on a super weekend, still placed 7th. It still wasn't a good overall finish, but they went 4-0 on a super weekend, and that's the last time they went undefeated. They have a chance with their victory over Liquid yesterday and a win here today to break that streak. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they went 2-0 last week, so you're referring to the last time before last week.
Before last.
They've been on such a hot streak with now a 4-game winning streak, and if they win, tied for second. But before the split, I remember listening to Zeyzal interview in like the smoothie lounge with Travis Gafford saying they think they're a top 3 team, and I was not believing that for 1 second. But watching them in these last 4 games, with Jizuke reigning in a little bit, Bang and Zeyzal having stronger laning phases, and then also watching Kumo hold his own in these lanes has given me a little bit more hope. But you never know in the LCS, especially now in these new environments with so many teams playing from home, and with how Dignitas actually looked good last game. After they looked completely miserable and everyone had written them off, they won a game yesterday. So both these teams still have a lot to fight for.
And remember that the last time these two teams played was in week 1. This was back during the Dignitas hotness of the first 2 weeks of play, where everybody was like, OMG, this is the team along with Cloud9, bro. These are the boys. And then since then, of course, it hasn't gone quite as well for them. But hey, that means there's a pretty stark difference between then and now for when these teams are going head-to-head. However, we've had a lot of the draft already transpire. It's Rumble, Kalista, Pantheon, Ornn, Sett, and Senna that were all banned off in the first half. It's Aphelios, Tahm Kench, and Aatrox drafted for Evil Geniuses. Dignitas grabbing themselves Syndra, Nautilus, and Fiora.
And I kind of love how Dig has just said, yeah, let's just let Huni play Fiora. Like, let's just let him do his thing. I think it can win against the Aatrox, especially with the buffs to the top lane items like Blade of the Ruin King and the Tiamat upgrades on this patch, and a huge potential to carry this game if he's able to get going.
Bans towards mid laners, the name of the game from both squads. Orianna, LeBlanc banned out here in the second half. Dignitas going to switch it up a little bit, keep Olaf away from Svenskeren. Remember, both teams still need to draft those junglers as well as the mid laner, only for the side of Evil Geniuses. But because Evil Geniuses banned out the Ori, they're saying, all right, we're not fully convinced that's not a bot lane syndrome.
Absolutely. It could really go bottom lane for Johnson. He's a solo queue superstar. He knows how to play almost all of these meta picks. And one more fun fact, since you had one at the start, I want to have my own. In the major regions, Fiora is actually undefeated this year.
Wait, really?
So it's only been played 6 times. It was played by Huni, Hauntzer, Khan twice, and then 2 games in the LPL. Won every single one of them. So it could be a pick that picks up more prevalence. 3.5% presence, but 6-0. So looking forward to seeing if that undefeated Fiora can keep going for Dignitas.
I'm always a little hesitant about super convincing stats with low sample sizes because it could just be they're picked in very advantageous conditions where they should have a 75% chance to win the game anyway.
I think that's super fair, and there's a reason it's only picked 3.5% of the time. Right. There are so many ways a Fiora can go wrong. But to talk about a little bit earlier in this draft, as we have been flying through it, Bang's Aphelios is actually going to be really interesting to me to see if it can find effectiveness, because when Bang has been looking really good to me during this win streak, a lot of it has been on things that don't necessarily need to hyper carry the game. They are 0-2 on Aphelios so far in the spring split, so this will really be a test, especially with Jizuke on Rise. Like, can this team be cohesive around a carry Bang and have Zeyzal be in the right situation? And it is Syndra Bot. Look at this dig comp. It is wild.
Syndra Bot, Huni Fiora, Froggen on Kiana with a Gragas jungle for maximum burstitude. This is wild.
Burstitude.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so it's like they have a bunch of pick with the Syndra, Kiana, Gragas, and then they have the Fiora to try and distract. It is really difficult to play correct, like, actual split push win conditions where your team fighting is poor. I do wonder if the Kiana initiation in the right situation can give them enough team fighting to end up winning this, because, I mean, we look at Evil Geniuses, they're standard. Digs are the ones that are just kind of throwing caution to the wind, saying whatever we were doing before this extra week off we've had wasn't working. So let's try and recover by doing something. And it looks like there's something is, let's just let Huni play Fiora. And then apparently also everything else goes out the window because we get to see Froggen's Kiana.
Well, we'll see how it plays out here. Once again, we're going to head to our standard 5-minute competitive integrity break now. But we'll be back and we'll be hitting Summoner's Rift in just a moment. Don't y'all go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. The final competitive integrity break of the day has been done. And we are jumping on to Summoner's Rift here to wrap up the last game of Week 8. A win for Evil Geniuses will put them in a tie for second place with both FlyQuest and TSM. But remember, the last time these two teams faced, granted it was 7 weeks ago, Dignitas came out on top.
And I have to applaud Dignitas here for the picks. I like the variety they've been giving us here. Huni's Fiora, I think, is immediately attention-grabbing. Moving it all together with the Qiyana mid for your kind of double physical damage, squishy soul laners, but then to also fit in the Syndra. Like, this draft theoretically works while also being super unique. So looking forward to see them doing it. And as we talked about before the 5-minute break, EG is just absolutely on a roll.
Yeah.
4-game winning streak after it felt like everything was falling apart for them midway through the season. And now with the win here, we'll move into a 3-way tie for second with TSM and FlyQuest.
And you mentioned it in the Champion Select, but I want to go back to it a little bit here now because we have a moment while we're just waiting on things to happen at level 1. You talked about Bang. You talked about what the best version of EG looks like, and you talked about how he's 0-2 on the Aphelios so far this split. How concerning is it that he's on this instead of something of a different style?
It's not necessarily that concerning because I think the fact that they've only played it twice is more due to the fact that Aphelios has been so banned. Like, it's just a really powerful champion.
Yeah.
So it will be concerning if they lose again with it, I think. Because I do agree that they don't necessarily work that well when everyone needs to play around Bang. He's much better playing around someone else. But at least with the Rise and the Aatrox, they have enough other people that can, you know, create their own shot that Bang can still follow up on the Aphelios.
There's enough threat.
If they lose it to be worrying, it's fine for now.
Okay. Keep an eye on top lane here as Fiora pretty good into Aatrox. It's very easy to riposte him. Everything he does that will cause the riposte to be a stun is telegraphed enough that she can easily turn those trades around. The champion often finds a lot of success against him. And even if the riposte is down or has already been used, she can pretty easily lunge away from the sweet spots and avoid bad trades from him. You can see Huni already taking control of this lane here early on as Akaadian will move towards his red buff, and then he'll be on that top side. Svenskeren working the opposite direction, starting at his own blue and going towards the bottom half of the map.
And it is pretty sad life for Qiyana in the first 2 levels against Arise. You're expecting Froggen to fall a little bit behind. I think most Qiyana mids that I've ended up seeing in Pro, when they're up against these ranged magic damage matchups, fall like sometimes 20 or 30 CS behind and still have a chance of creating game impact just because once you do build a lethality item and can get a roam off, you still have that huge amount of burst. So look to see if Jizuke can really punish Froggen early lane, because if he doesn't, then Froggen has a chance of running away.
I like how these two champions feel so opposite of what the players normally do in-game. Froggen is normally the control style player. He scales up, he has a bunch of gold, he's got a lot of farm, he wants to carry late. Jizuke is just all over the place, looking to PvP every second of every moment. But he's the one on the champion that needs to scale. Froggen's the one on the playmaker, on the roamer. And I find that a very interesting juxtaposition here as these teams go head-to-head for the second time this split.
Yeah, it's Jizuke's first Rise game of the split. In theory, with the way Rise can play side lanes later in the game, Jizuke should be able to pilot it a little bit like LeBlanc in terms of the way he controls the map, but just because one champion can distort over 2 walls and the other one needs to channel a realm warp for 2.5 seconds, it changes the way you actually have to play it. In theory, Jizuke should be able to transfer his skills, but if he can successfully add Rise to a champion pool, it would be very good for EG long term.
Dignitas knows that Froggen is extended. They're expecting some sort of a play out of EG and Jizuke. Now they're jumping forward. It's going to be a full-on 3v3. Froggen the target as the Tahm Kench keeps his allies safe. And that's first blood over to Evil Geniuses. Their master plan comes to fruition.
Wow. That was really quick reaction there by EG. They were so ready for that gank. And Zeyzal just waddling up, flash devouring is what turned that fight, right? Like, that's the reason they were able to get Froggen down. Otherwise, that's where Dig thought they were going to be able to pull Qiyana ahead in that lane. So actually getting the Ignite out of Froggen, keeping him lower in experience, extending the lead for Jizuke, is just massive, because if you don't get to roam ever on a Qiyana, your team's not doing much.
When he goes for a repost there, Kumo doesn't end up attacking into it to waste his Deathbringer stance. And nice early lead here coming out from Evil Geniuses as Huni just continues to farm. Let's take another look at this. We got a replay here, how it all went down.
Yeah, so I mean, Aphromoo feels like he snuck in here. Zeyzal has the same thought, and it ends up being this instant 3v3. The route onto Froggen to delay his initial engage buys enough time for Zeyzal to flash W and get his Guardian proc. And that's just, it feels a little unlucky when you're Dig. You're like, we had the support roam. But yeah, the other team had a support too, and Zeyzal did a good job matching.
Froggen died without using flash there. He was taken so low, probably figured that there's no way that you escape even if you use it, so you might as well keep it up and ready for the next time your opponents try to repeat a move like this. Svenskeren here on the bottom half of the map. He throws a Sonic Wave at the Drake. He's going to start this one up solo, but it is warded.
Yeah, early Drake is so low health now, he should probably be able to just take it down. The fear, like, would obviously be the Qiyana being level 6 and just coming and one-shotting you, but it looks like Jizuke has the angle on mid lane, and will make this completely safe for Svenskeren.
Yeah, even if Froggen roams first, Jizuke can instantly catch up with a Realm Warp, and considering bot lane has total control over that lane and their opponents are stuck underneath the turret, ward be damned, Svenskeren has the control he needed to take that objective nice and early here for the side of Evil Geniuses.
And it's also going to be hard for Huni to take over this game against a Tahm Kench. You know, the more that I think about it, because I think
Gobble gobble.
we might have a bit of a time here. I still think Tahm Kench is misunderstood as a champion for what he brings to the game. A lot of people think he is just the guy who was a get out of jail free card, but to me that's a much smaller part of his kit now, and the bigger part is how strong he is in mid-game skirmishes. He actually is a lane bully, so in like a Tahm Kench Nautilus or Tahm Kench Leona matchup, if the Nautilus or Leona go in, Tahm Kench wins because he can out-trade, and then beyond that, he stops or enables split pushing really well because of the two-man semi-global he has, which is absurd. Like, the global pressure that EG will have with a Tahm Kench and a Realm Warp, they can hop their whole team around frequently, which will make it really, really hard for Huni to actually take over this game as a split pusher, the more I think about it.
And you can eat the guy that gets challenged in a team fight.
Yes, that also is still true. It's so much weaker than it used to be.
Look, you're
Thank
over
you
here
for
being
that.
the smart guy. I have to be the, but Tahm Kench can eat him guy.
But he can eat him.
It's very
True,
important to
he
present
can.
both sides of the conversation.
But he's super slow now. He can't flash while he's doing it.
Well, he's in some trouble here. A lot of damage
Yeah.
coming out from Dignitas onto Zeyzal.
He's gonna eat the
Froggen
guy.
shows up. He's looking to grab the rest of the burst here. He's going to take some damage from the turret shots as Bang looks to finish him off. Svenskeren showing up, and it looks like Evil Geniuses has shown up to clean these guys up. It's Johnson stuck in a bad spot as Jizuke should get the kill pretty easily here. There we are. Come on. What? Come.
Well,
there you go. All right. Okay. I was... took a little bit longer than I thought he would, but hey, Jizuke got the kill. Sure, Dignitas get themselves on the board, but they lose 2 for it.
Yeah, I think the end goofiness was because he was losing vision and brush. Theoretically, actually, if he could have handed that kill to Bang and they got a Sysgold, it would have actually been better, but more largely, that was Dig's attempt to get the roam off. Froggen actually found a way out of mid lane. It's just, yeah, it was stuffed. The Tahm Kench, Zeyzal gave his life to prevent Bang from taking the ultimate damage, and it means that they just pull a little bit further ahead. Kumo's no flash, though.
Kumo staring down the barrel of a 3-man gank. Huni uses the riposte for the slow. Remember, Acadian doesn't have the ulti ready. He used it in the bottom lane to try to make that play, but they've still got enough firepower to grab themselves that kill. Dignitas has 4 men here topside. Counterattack comes through for Evil Geniuses looking to grab a kill, and Bang's got it.
It felt like that gank was in slow motion. I don't really know what it was, but Huni flashed early to get the range on Akumo, and then they didn't have any additional like Gragas flashes or Gragas ults, so they just kind of slowly killed him. And the weirdest part to me there was Aphromoo dying afterwards. I don't think he could actually walk away fast enough without his boots mobility kicking in after he hooks in. And really, when you think about the kill trade, a kill onto Bang's Aphelios or a kill onto Acadian's Gragas, EG's going to take that trade 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things is Bang. And Bang is now sitting at a really good spot, having that BF sword, having the 2 kills. He's ready to go. And his team picked up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, so EG have weathered some of the early craziness of knowing they're up against Kiana Fiora and seem to be playing a fairly controlled game. The impressive thing continues to actually be Jizuke's restraint. I think he actually looked pretty poor in a lot of their games earlier on this split, but as long as he can, you know, actually exercise a laning lead, which he's doing against Froggen here, and then find the right plays around the map instead of overpressing all the time, this EG team gets really good because we know Bang is going to be a reliable team fighter, and if Jizuke is able to find the right windows to fight, the overall teamwork of him with Svenskeren and Zeyzal, who have synergy all the way back to Cloud9 World Semifinals, makes for a really good team.
And honestly, you said Jizuke had a lot of poor games, and in those poor games, I think he still had some moments that were almost fantastic. Like, he would have some engages, he would have some plays that would nearly kill 2 or 3 people, but nobody else was on the same page as him. So it was the right thing at the wrong time. And I want to see if he can find that kind of damage opportunity when the rest of the team is behind him. Because he clearly knows the thresholds of his champion and exactly what kind of threat he can produce. He just needs to make sure that he's got the backup behind him necessary to make sure that it's not an int.
Dig's in a really hard spot right now. They don't have wave pressure anywhere, and they're staring down a Rift Herald, and they don't have a better team fighting composition.
The kick from Svenskeren is going to knock Akaadian back through Aphromoo to damage both of them down to about half HP. It also means they can't engage while Shelly is being escorted up to the turret. It also means that they're now in worse shape overall, so EG grabs a Drake. It's all coming up evil.
Yeah, and it's looking like Dignitas is going to completely give over this Drake, which is the correct call. The one chance might have been a Kiana ultimate in the river, since that's where it is at its most powerful, since it'll basically be a Sona ult that also knocks people back when you're in the river. But it is not to be. Bang is powering up, Jizuke is powering up, and EG has a very clean first 12 minutes of the game.
Tier stacking up on Jizuke. Rod of Ages also fully completed by 12 minutes, has that one up to 2 stacks. It was done by 10. So once that item fully completes, remember, Rod of Ages has a ridiculous gold efficiency once it gets fully stacked after the 10 minutes. It's like 150 or something, but it's really not fantastic early on. So just give him time to scale up there. Another 8 minutes and that item will be fully charged. He'll be ready to go. Froggen, with only mobility boots and a serrated Dirk in inventory, isn't... It's like you said, I mean, he's not that threat. This isn't the point of the game where he can roam around mid lane or roam around mid game and just start popping people.
Yeah, and I think also because of some of the action we saw up in the top lane, like Huni having 94 CS to Kumo's 116, I'm not exactly sure how the side waves have been moved around in this game. That's not something that Huni's going to be able to take over later.
And the big thing I'm noticing here, so all too often, the thing that most people build into Fiora is a Bramble Vest early, right? Because it stops the Vitals from being good healing. It stops the whole Grand Challenge thing from really working that effectively. Anytime she wants to proc a Vital or get that healing, she has to automatically have Grievous Wounds because she's hitting you, right? It counts as an on-hit. So your opponent is already going to index into anti-healing, and he's rushing a healing item in Blade of the Ruined King. That feels a little wacky to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the current health damage that Fiora wants to do. Like, if you think about the way the Grand Challenge is going to work, if Huni uses it around half health, like you use the Blade of the Ruined King to get as much current health down as possible, you pop that ultimate, you get % max health true damage on the rest of it. He's just trying to use the Blade of the Ruined King for like a full combo. Okay. But as we saw yesterday, I know Freak and Azael were doing a lot of Blade of the Ruined King theory crafting. You're trading off being able to shove the wave with Tiamat and reach late game Fiora with having earlier game dueling power in the Blade of the Ruined King. And right now, since Huni doesn't seem like he's going to be able to win the early game duels, is just going to put Dig a little bit behind in map pressure.
Mid laners have taken up position here in the top side. Jizuke finding a route into a combo with the overload there onto Froggen, put a little bit of damage onto his health bar. Akaadian hanging out near here just to make sure they don't try any sort of dives onto the mid laner of Dignitas. But Bang and Zeyzal pushing up the mid lane here. Johnson and Aphromoo in position to try to answer. Bang goes for the play onto Johnson with a Moonlight Vigil, but it is sidestepped.
Yeah, so Dig able to hold strong in the mid lane while EG continue to take control, but this is looking like a pretty controlled EG game so far. Even yesterday, when EG beat TL, it was a small lead early, and then the goal just kind of grew up and to the right because they're starting to get this 1-3-1 thing down, and you can see it right now where Jizuke is just patiently, not overextending, but applying constant pressure top lane, and Kumo needs to be able to escape this.
Kumo has been grand challenged by Huni. A little bit of damage coming through there. Waits to see Acadian's body slam before he goes for the flash, and it gets him out of the game.
And while that happens, Jizuke gets the top turret. So this is the push and pull when you're playing the 1-3-1 properly. You have the Tahm Kench camped in the middle. If a play goes too wacky on the side lanes, the Tahm Kench can actually come over and join, and it's just making it so Dignitas doesn't have strong things to do. If Huni's not even winning the 1v1s, there's almost nothing Dig can do in this team.
Yeah, when you draft a strictly like 1v1 split push champion and then fail to accomplish that goal, well, it makes you question what the entire purpose of the draft was. I mean, yeah, they picked it early. Maybe they're assuming he'll be able to handle whatever they throw at him, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, I'm going through in my head. Froggen's level 11 now, which helps a lot. If he can find some type of flank in a dragon fight, it's good, but like 5v5 with current goal differences, I think Aatrox Rise of Felios is stronger. And then even in 1-3-1, if EG is also stronger because Jizuke can match Froggen and Kumo is okay matching Huni, and then you also have a Tahm Kench who can join sides, EG is better in 5v5s and in 1-3-1s. So Dig doesn't have a win condition right now, unless they can find a way to find like a miracle fight.
And that point that you made about the Tiamat earlier really rings true when you just saw Huni start hitting that wave as they collided down there, especially when he's out of mana. It takes him so damn long to push this wave up,
flank.
just doing single auto attacks against a single target.
So this is actually the moment where Froggen is in the enemy jungle.
Oh,
Okay.
spotted out now.
And Scaren's smart. He knows that that could be where he is, and he found him.
Umbral Glaive will make sure that Froggen's able to two-hit that control ward and reestablish his secret position. However, considering he's been discovered, not a good sign there for Dignitas, but Shelly's being escorted forward here yet again. They want to use the second Rift Trail charge. Remember, the first Rift Trail charge is what got it that low. The second one will finish it off.
Satisfying, and Froggen is trying his damnedest. The only way they win is if he finds some miracle engage, so there's a high chance he just gets killed before he can find that flank, because EG's on the hunt.
Zazel went to give him the lick, but it didn't work, and now Froggen, he has been found out by the Infernal Chains. He jumps away. He will not be yoinked back yet, but it seems he's still in a pretty dire position, my friend. Kumo pops the World Ender, slams him down into the ground, and that's a 1-for-0 Evil Genius.
Not today for Secret Agent Froggen.
No.
That was, and now they know they have a 5v4,
it's
so they're going.
Four-man party. They're going forward with the Realm Warp. Remember, there is
Oh,
no turret
go
to
again.
protect them. Okay, we got a big distance ulti into a big distance ulti, but they will not find their catch.
That's so comical. It's like Realm Warp didn't work. All right, Tahm Kench, you're up next. Nothing actually gets them a kill, but sure, you can have your fun. They keep control of the game, and now they set themselves up for what would be a 23.5-minute Mountain Soul if they keep control.
This is a pretty clean Evil Geniuses game so far. You know, I made a tweet that may or may not have been kind of flamey earlier on in this split, where I said Evil Geniuses came into preseason talking like they were Lex Luthor, but then their gameplay looks more like Dwight Schrute. And they're actually looking more Lex Luthor tier now. Because they seem to have this evil plan that it's all coming together. They're playing the mastermind role. They're forcing their opponents to make mistakes because they feel so flustered. And that's fun to see this team evolve that way.
Isn't the guy who played Dwight Schrute, wasn't he in a superhero movie?
Was he?
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson?
I
Yeah, that's
think
his name.
He was. Yeah. This is another thing that's great about casting from home is you have access
You could just
to
Google, was Rainn Wilson in a superhero movie?
Yeah, well, I keep clicking the wrong thing. I swear he was. I remember seeing a trailer for it. So either way, it is very possible for Dwight Schrute to turn into a superhero. Is I think what's happening here is what the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, I wonder where we were
he was
going.
in Super. There's a movie called Super in 2010, starring Rainn Wilson. Yeah.
And was he the good guy or the bad?
I don't need to read. I don't remember. A superhero with the best intentions but lacking in heroic skills. That's the It's got a 50 on Metacritic, so I don't know if it's the best
no.
one. But either way, EG looks clean. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, EG, we've gone on a bit of a tangent here, but EG's looking clean. They're looking evil like they intended. And let's see if Dignitas can find a way back into this game. It has been about a 3,000 gold lead here for a while. Huni finally has that Blade of the Ruin King completed, locked and loaded, ready to go. But man, look across the table, though. Jizuke, he's got the Rod of Ages fully stacked. He's got the Seraph's Embrace ready. That means a shield in the team fights to make him that much more difficult to kill. Has the Glacial Shroud in inventory. Could turn that into either a Righteous Glory for more engage potential or a Frozen Heart to have that armor stack and really resist the Kiana and Fiora that much better. Kumo now under pressure in a 1v3. World Ender has been cast. It's not going to do a whole lot here. Froggen wants to take the kill, but Acadian decides to toss the World in there and grab it away.
It was getting a little dicey because they didn't full burst him, and that you actually hate to see it. You really want Froggen to be able to get a little bit more farm, as that was the one look they've had in about 20 minutes that was good. Ah, man. And so, more largely on EG is they got about 2.5 minutes until the next Mountain Drake comes up, and they keep this 1-3-1 going once Kumo respawns. I never doubted EG's ability to play the map, execute macro. We know Svenskeren is the defending MVP from last split. We know Zeyzal is like this actually really strong support shot caller. We saw all these things at play. Oh, as they're going in for more.
Svenskeren looking for Johnson. Won't quite find him. Sonic Wave only found Acadian there, but after
Might just die.
the sacrificial move, he's taken down and bang, goes on a killing spree.
Man, it just looks so easy for them in the mid lane right now. I was never in doubt to me that they'd be able to play the map like this. What was in doubt to me was their ability to get leads in the first place. And that's been a big turning point for them, where Kumo was a really, really big weak spot for them in a lot of their early games. And in these last 5, his early game has been good. And this is just allowing him to just school people. Like, look at what they're doing right now. Killing the mid lane on Aphromoo, denying the full jungle from Acadian. A lot of other teams would be in full holding patterns until the Mountain Soul comes up. EG is actively extending their lead, get the pick on the jungler, and now look at this. They immediately teleport in for the Baron. They are playing so well right now.
Yeah, that was Acadian's first death of the game. He was the one person on the team with kills, and with him out of the picture, with him being the jungler, that Baron is secured only 22 minutes into this game by EG.
This could be a fast one, because I think the Baron power play is going to be up while they can pick up the Mountain Soul, and then they might just win. They're going to set up Jizuke Kumo in a 1-3-1 with a level 11 Tahm Kench, whose ultimate is basically global here. They're going to be in a really good position. They actually ulted back to the wave to get mid lane pressure immediately. They're not giving over any freebies to Dig here.
Dignitas just being strangled out of this game, man. Mountain Soul, 30 seconds. Dignitas, where you at? Let's see it, because something's got to happen here. Giving away that shield, especially when you've got a composition with Syndra and Kiana and Gragas. They're looking to burst somebody out. When you have to deal with that extra couple hundred HP shield from a 7,000 gold disadvantage, that can be the difference between getting a kill or not.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer.
Oh, no, not a Debbie Downer.
It's going to be tough.
Oh,
Froggen
no.
might try another snake thing.
Well, here they go. Dignitas may have found their initiation 0-3. Acadian has to go into the stasis. Bang getting himself away from the grand challenge issued by Huni. Zeyzal looking to keep his 80 carry alive, but he's not able to do it. Kumo coming in now looking to find the revenge kill. It is 2 dead on the side of Evil Geniuses, including the jungler, and Dignitas will move towards the Drake. You may have cast
Did they do it?
You may have cast
Did they do it? Did they hold it off?
You may have just
It's a 4v3 now. Froggen still has ult as well. If EG tries to contest this too much, Froggen might actually get the flank off this time.
Acadian's here. He's got the smite. Kumo, Zeyzal, and Jizuke coming around. Froggen still hanging out behind the pit. Drake at 5k. Kumo jumping forward. Finds the Infernal Chains onto Johnson. He's able to pull him back, but Kumo is exploded. Jizuke still looking to find some more. Now remember, it's Rise. It's a team fight. The champion does some damage, ladies and gentlemen. Zeyzal jumps in. He gobbles him up to safety. Jizuke's got a triple. Make it even more. Tahm Kench steals it, but who the hell cares? That is EG making it happen.
The power of Rise. Jizuke just flexes on all of Dignitas. Kumo goes down as the distraction, but the Righteous Glory Rise just flies in. Zeyzal's back as well. He just pops up towards that mid lane, and now they have 50 seconds of this Baron power play left to break open that inhibitor.
Just when we thought Dignitas may have found their way back. Oh no. Oh no. You all forgot about Rise, but Rise didn't forget about you. He's here to win the team fights, pull EG into a spot where they're just feeling fantastic. Huni just gets ships in the night. He just passed. He was there, but he never met them.
Yeah, they pass right through, and Huni just like, his hair flipped up for 1 second. He's like, I wonder what that was.
Something is amiss here.
Yeah, uh-oh.
Well, here comes the fight. Huni's caught out. Svenskeren in a fight against him. The grand challenge has been issued. It does not matter. Svenskeren goes in and grabs the kill onto Johnson. More damage just flowing freely into those Dignitas health bars. The bottom laners have both been destroyed. Evil Geniuses looking for the win right here, right now. Jiizuke chasing Akaadian underneath 2 turrets. Top lane inhibitor is gone, and the push for the win continues. Turret laid down there by Bang. The push will not stop anytime soon. I'm trying to reiterate this in a few different ways, a few different words, but it does not even matter. They have no mercy against Team Dignitas here. 26 minutes in, not even that. And they're looking to lock this one away. Dignitas trying to defend. They have their bottom laners alive now here again. Zeyzal's playing Ring Around the Rosie with Froggen over at the red buff, keeping him occupied. I don't even know what that is, but Akaadian's now going to body slam to stop the resonating strike damage coming through from Svenskeren. It's a 5v4 now as Froggen's still trying to make his way into the fight. Still going to be zoned away by Zeyzal's tongue. As Kumo gets taken out by Johnson, that's 1 kill going the way of Dignitas. They seem to have held the line. Svenskeren kept safe there. Froggen rooted up. Froggen bursted down. Jiizuke
take it, Jiizuke.
leaves
Buddy!
without anybody else in the fight. What?
It's like someone takes the fireman's pole while everyone else is just hanging out. All right, he's back.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, Flowers, that was an absurd sequence. Zeyzal was actually out-dueling Froggen, and Froggen was running away from him for 40 seconds. EG is in complete and total control of this game right now. I believe they can just walk it in, but they might be just little interrupt. I think they're just going to reset to make 3,000% sure that they can win this one.
Well, Akaadian's coming around to try to stop them. I don't know if he actually wants to go in here. It is only 4 members of Evil Geniuses. Kumo cannot join this fight. There is no teleport available.
Last-ditch effort by Dig.
The blue's stolen. Akaadian is found. Svenskeren and Bang put down the damage. All right, Akaadian's gone. Dignitas heading right back to their own base as Svenskeren jumps over the wall there with a blast cone. Huni goes in, looking to bring the fight to Jiizuke. However, a lot of damage going to continue to come out there from those overloads. Jiizuke protecting that last vital, blowing up Huni. Bang gets the kill onto Johnson. Aphromoo is all alone in the middle of nowhere. Play the sad music. There's not much left for him here. A double kill for Jiizuke. This game is over. Zeyzal even uses the Abyssal Voyage to bring Kumo into the enemy base. Bang gets the ace for style points there at the very end. And EG, they're just goofing around letting the minions do the dirty work, and they will tie for second place.
A flare of Evil Genius BM right at the end of that one, Captain Flowers. And like the last 2 minutes of that, I feel like that is like an NFL game where you're just throwing 5 picks and trying onside kicks every time you score. So like it could have been a lower kill game for EG to win, but at least Dig was trying stuff at the end. Overall, though, you could see that was a dominant performance by EG. I think they won in draft. They completely handled whatever type of funny business Dignitas was trying to do. They made it so there were no win conditions for them throughout. And I mean, you ask me right now, who's the second best team in the league? Is it actually EG? Because they're tied for it, but they looked the best recently.
They're definitely turning things on here at the end of the split, but that is the last of games here to be played for Week 8. That'll do it for Jat and I here, but after a quick commercial break, we are going to be back jumping into the Bud Light breakdown, where Dash and the gang are going to wrap up the entirety of the week's action. We hope to see you there. We'll see you in just a moment. Take it easy.
Welcome to the Bud Light Breakdown here to conclude Week 8 and the first ever at-home LCS broadcast. I am joined again by Prolly, Mark Z, and Azael to close out the weekend. Gentlemen, I felt pretty good about this one. How did you guys feel about the way this all came together?
I thought the show was really good. We didn't have any significant issues, a couple more pauses than you would see at the LCS, but that's about it. And the games themselves were wild this weekend.
We did have some pretty wild games. There's a curiosity within me that wonders how much of that is a product of the teams, playing outside the normal LCS environment. A couple of the games there did feel a little bit more like the stories that we hear from the different scrims, sessions that the teams play, right?
FlyQuest game, maybe level 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it does make for a very exciting, time, again, because the importance on the matches still remains. And I think that's where I want to kick things off here on the Bud Light Breakdown, is to get another look at the standings and where our teams all sit currently. But while the circumstances might not be fantastic, the importance of the matches still remains. And there you can see within Mark's window there a quick look at the 2020 spring standings. Of course, Cloud9 well out in front of the rest of the teams, but behind them, TSM, FlyQuest, and Evil Geniuses now even moving up in that win category to start challenging in the conversation for top 2, 3, and 4. Immortals, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, Dignitas, and Golden Guardians even still all chasing behind them. Of note, only one team has locked their playoff spot, and that is Cloud9, and they did it weeks ago. Still, no one else is guaranteed a playoff spot. Those 9-win teams, though, probably they are guaranteed at least tie breaks, so they can take some solace in the fact that they've gotten the 9, and if they get one more next week, any of those teams reaching 10 will guarantee themselves a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a soup in the middle, but now we're getting that soup at the top where we're trying to figure out who's our second place team. Is this going to be a chowder now? What? I don't know what kind of a soup is.
Yeah, what
Maybe
kind of a soup?
Does Mark is the soup expert, so
is it stew better than?
I
soup?
pulled the stand down. There's too much soup talk.
I'm bringing it back.
Let's bring in our soup expert in the bottom left.
Our
Mark
soup
Zimmerman.
consultant.
What can you tell us about the kind of soup it looks like we're going to end up with here at the end of the spring split?
I mean, this looks like a pretty good soup to me. Most of the teams have a positive win rate. The two bottom teams at 8 and 8 right now, at 5 and 6 is Immortals and 100 Thieves. And they look decent, honestly. 100 Thieves picked up a win. Immortals picked up a big win today over TSM. So it bodes well. It looks like it's going to be a pretty competitive playoffs.
Today was the day of upsets. So where everything felt like if it went to chalk, we were going to secure 2 more teams into the playoff picture. We've done nothing of the sort. And again, I'll remind everyone at home that 2020 spring, we're introducing a new playoff format. You can find more info on that on lolesports.com with a bit of a more in-depth breakdown, but there's a lot more importance placed on reaching top 4 as well as just top 2, and so a lot of value to be gained for a couple of these teams that kind of sit in the middle of that top 6 currently.
Yeah, I agree. It is important, right, to be playing for those top 4. Having yourself in the double elimination bracket is going to be really, really important. And I think especially if you are a team that feels like in best of 5, you have a better chance, or you're ramping up, you're considering yourself a good playoff team with a lot of experience, you have an extremely high chance of making it far in double elim. There's not that, TSM getting upset by Clutch, now you're out. You have that one bad series, you get to actually try to bounce back and adapt. And I think adaptation is going to become really, really important in the playoffs as a result of this different format. We're more likely to see the truly best teams reach finals.
Let's go ahead, Mark.
I was just the final thing is just puts more pressure on TL as well, where the 100 Thieves and Immortals are picking up wins against other playoff teams. It was going to be a tough road anyways with FlyQuest and C9 at the end of their split, but now these other teams are raising the bar, and that's why we keep saying 9 wins feels like where you have to be to make it in, because the other teams are 8 and 8 right now. And even if you have this massive 3-way tie at 8 and 10, it's still tough.
I was going to say, if we go ahead and just snap the top 6 as it is currently, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, TSM, FlyQuest, all tied at 9 and 7, and then Immortals, 100 Thieves at 8 and 8 would make our top 6. That means that TL is the first team outside the playoff picture if today were the end of the split. When thinking about this top 6, coming back to you, Prolly, How does this reconcile or contrast to your preseason expectations to the current top 6 that we have right now?
I mean, TL's not in it. I think everyone is wrong at this point.
Yeah, everyone's very wrong.
Yeah, not even in the top 6. Like, that's pretty shocking. Especially like, this format actually favors the more veteran teams because there's no surprise really. Like, if you go into a best of 5 and someone like pulls out that cheesy pick that you couldn't deal with in that moment, like as Zale said, adaptation is going to be super important now, even more so than before in best of 5s, because with that second life in top 4, you get to come back and kind of see how they play again and have another chance to get in there.
Even without the TL piece of the conversation, Azael, I mean, 100 Thieves was a team that people had a lot of questions about, especially with the rookie Ryoma saying, they're probably not a playoff team here in spring. There were questions around Immortals with Aka and even, how much Xmithie really could get done on that team. A number of these teams didn't feel like they belonged here, and yet they find themselves squarely in the playoff picture.
So I would say for me, 100 Thieves was kind of on the precipice of playoffs. I'm not shocked if 100 Thieves are a 6th place team because I kind of saw them as, say, 6-7, where I would say my preseason expectations were very off. Besides TL, is CLG dead last. I thought that they had improved with picking up Crown, and they're coming off of, 2nd place in the regular season in summer, 3rd place in playoffs, whatever. They had been really making strides in summer, looked a lot better. They have been pretty atrocious overall, obviously had to swap out Crown, and then looking also at Immortals. Immortals, I think I had 9th. And I think a lot of people had Immortals, down there 9th, 10th, 8th, maybe as kind of the higher rankings I saw for them, because people didn't think that they had a true carry threat. And they have been able to pick up a lot of wins. I think Xmithie definitely deserves quite a bit of credit, but the team has stepped up around him. And I think Soaz, I believe it was you, Mark, talking about him earlier today, that a lot of times when Immortals are finding success, it's playing through Soaz.
Mark, let's get you back on. Oh, go ahead.
I'm back. Yeah, I was going to say the other one for me is FlyQuest. I don't know if anyone, I think some people might have had them in playoffs, but currently tied for 2nd in a big 3-way tie. That's still way better than I ever thought FlyQuest was going to be. So this was a very different season than what I think most people predicted.
For a lot of people, without a doubt. Well, as we talk about team performance, let's go ahead and transition over to individual performance. As is typical, every week we award the accolade of MasterCard Player of the Week to the top performer from the weekend. And this week, it will be Evil Genius's Jiizuke in the mid lane, coming up big with a LeBlanc performance yesterday. Follow that up with the Ryze pop-off today. Let's talk about this guy because, again, tons of question marks coming into the split about how he would fit into a team, and he's starting to shine.
Yeah, I mean, he said it himself. He had so much of an issue like coming to NA and dealing with the NA scrim culture where mids aren't really fighting him back, and that's just something he's so used to back in Europe. So to see him actually finally fit in with his team, and not just the team performing well, but him performing well. Earlier in the split, he was having like solo deaths and a lot of like really big mistakes in lane. But now he's actually showing up his own play really well, and he's playing off his team well, which like I didn't have EG in the top 4 in my preseason. I definitely thought they would be top 6, but now that they're like fighting for 2nd, like I think they're doing really, really well, and I think a lot of it is off the back of Jiizuke.
Any other thoughts there on Jiizuke's performance?
I think he probably has the most carry performances this split. I mean, they're tied for 2nd most wins, but a team like C9 who has 15, each guy has kind of had a couple hard carry performances in every game. Everyone's mostly playing well, so it's hard to be like, oh, that was solo won by Niski and these other people. But Jiizuke, a lot of their wins, you're like, oh, that Ryze just got a quadra kill at a dragon fight, like what just happened today. And his LeBlanc is just 1v9ing in the side lane. Like, those are the kinds of games you see out of Jiizuke, which is why it does feel like he has been so incredible for EG.
It would have been a quadra if that damn Zeyzal didn't get the Tom Kench kill to make it a triple. Sorry to cut you off there, Zale.
No problem. I also think it's kind of interesting, how much he's able to dictate the pace of the game through his play, right? Whether it's a side lane play that was kind of more measured today or constantly poking away at Jensen and taking over the jungle. He has shaped the course of the game almost single-handedly in so many of their wins that it's really, really interesting. And it's just like the whole game plan right now is just get Jiizuke going and he's going to make good things happen for you.
I might get crucified for this comparison, but we'll see. To me, it's akin to Niski's transition to the LCS. Totally different players, but in the sense that both of these players have decided to identify and index into their own style. That comment you made about Jizuke struggling to transition into the NA scrim culture where people aren't willing to fight him. I have found that as the split has gone on, he's decided, yeah, you know what? I don't care if you don't want to fight me. I'm just going to go fight. And he's kind of falling into the idea that, hey, I'm going to play my style just the same way Nisqy plays his own style. And it is starting to work for these two teams that now sit 1-2 in the standings. Does that make sense?
I mean,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I do think the big difference is Nisqy didn't have like a string of ints like Jizuke did when he.
What about his Envy days?
Which is, I don't count that.
that
What?
because that was
far
Wait,
away.
you don't. Wait, you're not counting.
That
his
was
actual
his
transition
adjustment
time,
into NA.
which is the same. That it would be the most analogous.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought this
thing
was the
to-
transition
to-
into C9. All right.
Well,
That was
I'm talking about his
Nisqy.
transition.
That was round
to
2.
this region and finding his footing here, right? And I think that it took Nisqy getting to Cloud9 and then finding over this last year and into this year that kind of more roaming style, willing to give up the CS, doing B reminiscent style, and then Jizuke saying, yeah, you know what? I don't need to do what the number one mid laner in the NALCS does. I'm going to play my style, which is the LeBlancs, the Rises, things like that. I've just been impressed to see it. Again, consistency still big question marks, without a doubt. We'll have to see if they can carry it through to the postseason. Any other final thoughts from you guys before I take us out?
Not from me.
Not from Mark. He never has thoughts in
It
his
was a great weekend. I'm just really
Mark,
happy with how well it actually went over. All the hard work that everyone put in behind the scenes, from the production team, the engineering. This was an incredibly smooth remote broadcast to take 30, 40 people that are in the LCS studio working together on a setup that they have been using for years and years and years, and to be able to not exactly replicate it, but basically replicate the show start to finish with minimal delays, minimal interruptions, minimal issues, I think is incredible. And, it's something that I'm proud of being a part of that team and how hard everyone worked around me to get things going again.
I will echo that 1,000%. Exactly as Azael said, massive thank you to everyone behind the scenes who has worked their asses off over the last couple weeks to get this show up and running. I will extend that thank you to all of you at home who have, bared with us through these challenging obstacles and the changes that we've had to overcome in order to bring this broadcast to you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for celebrating competitive League of Legends and showcasing it to the world in everything that it is. This is esports. This is the LCS. We appreciate you being here. We want to know what you think will make this show better. So hit us up on Twitter. Let us know how you think we can level this remote broadcast up. We are not done here. We're looking to make this show fully fledged for you guys as we move into the postseason. That's going to conclude week 8, though. So I'm going to say goodnight. Make sure you stay healthy. Go wash your hands, and we'll see you next week for more LCS.